Hey there, nerds. Jimmy and my co-captain, Brandon.
Aye, aye.
We're here to celebrate 50 years of something. Luckily, neither of us are quite at that point, but we are celebrating 50 years of Jaws.
I was
I'm
negative 13 when that came out.
Wow. I was -2, so I wasn't. It's funny because we mentioned old movies like Casablanca or Gone with the Wind or whatever, and my kids are like, "Oh, what was that like?" I'm like, "Shut the hell up!"
You
Like
be
I
quiet.
alive when it was released. Okay, I've
Jim,
seen
you're
it.
grounded.
Yeah. Anyway, I was not alive when Jaws was released, folks, but I did see it
And
probably.
neither was I. For the confusion that people get with me, I wasn't either. That was
Well, that's
13
sorry.
years
Sorry,
before I
be real that
existed.
you look older than me.
All right. Well, whatever. It happens.
Gray. You look distinguished.
That's a word. That's what they'll say about me.
But seriously,
Anyways,
I would like to get your opinion on it as a millennial. Of what are your thoughts on the original Jaws? Is it scary? Is it a joke? What do you feel?
there are a few movies, like a few horror movies, that I did not watch as a kid, that didn't mess me up the way it messed my friends up, because I just was not into horror as a child. I had three experiences with horror movies, two being one of my friends making me watch them in sleepover, and then the other one was my dad's friend making me watch a sleepover because he was a psychologist and he thought it would help us. Actually, it was Carrie. He made us watch Carrie, and then my other friend brought over, I think, Scream and The Shining, which fucked me up to no end. So I stayed away from movies most of my adolescent. I didn't really get into horror until towards the end of high school and beyond. And so I did not watch Jaws as a kid. I do know I have friends who watch it and would be like, dude, I was afraid there was a shark swimming around my bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't track. There's no water there. I would not be afraid of that. But I think when I watched it for the first time, I was really just like, I was blown away at just how iconic that movie had become. The amount of things you see in that movie that are parodied or used, going throughout the rest of not only horror but like cinema. So although I didn't, although I didn't lose sleep watching it, I loved watching it because you're like, oh my god, like some of the shots he does, in the movie, the close with the people behind, or even I know there's a term for it, but when it zooms in and zooms out, so much of that you're just like, wow, like this is where a lot of that came from. And same with even just the parodies of "We're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat" being used in you know 5 decades of movies since then, is just fun. And then learning about how that inspired Wes Craven with The Hills Have Eyes, and that inspiring Sam Raimi. It's a really important movie to watch. And that was always my takeaway from it, was just how great it stayed, and the legacy it's had.
And that's one of the things that when I was pitching this segment to you was I really truly believe it is probably at this point the oldest movie to be as important as it is in Hollywood. Obviously, when Star Wars hits 50 in a couple years, to me that will then become that. But Jaws revolutionized the industry as far as we now schedule our movie watching. It's a little changed now with theaters, but summer blockbusters did not exist before Jaws. That wasn't a thing. Like Jaws got
Yeah,
released,
that on top of everything else, like,
and then it just became this huge. Everybody has to go to the theater to see this movie. It's insane. Have to go check it out, and that then became a thing. Um, what I love about it is this is Steven Spielberg's pretty much his first big chance at directing a movie. Yes, he did Duel and a couple TV shows before, but for some reason, Warner Brothers was like, hey, you know what? Why don't you take this big project that's going to be on the ocean with a mechanical shark that doesn't work? Cool, let's try it. And it somehow, because the shark didn't work, Bruce, the mechanical, they were able to use more of a Alfred Hitchcock style of filmmaking of what is this beast look like to where you said, we're going to need a bigger boat. The first time we really see this shark, and we don't even really see it. We just see the going right by the boat. And you're like, oh my God. And you see Hooper, 20-footer, Quint, who knows more about sharks, 25. And it's like, oh my God, this thing is huge. And it's just such a great movie from beginning to end. It's one of those ones where they taught it to us in film school, literally the script breakdown. So it's not known for just special effects, just story, just that it's a horror or whatever. It's just everything about it fits and works so well that 50 years later, we're sitting here watching it going, wow, if this is on TV, I'm watching it. And like I said to you, it was on TV and I watched 1, 2,
and then and
3,
then and
D,
then
and 4, because the first one is so good. It's like, can't turn it off. It baffles me that this movie in 1975 revolutionized the industry at the time. And you look at it and go, it's just a movie about a shark. It's like, no, it's not. It's so
no.
much more.
And like you said, it's just it really inspired so many people, and it changed the industry, and it changed the way things were shot. And it really is an important movie to watch and to take in. It's just it's crazy to me. You know what else? Like even like I rewatched it just because I'm like, yeah, it's been, I don't know, probably a minute since I've watched it, but even some of the, like when that first kid gets grabbed on the like it's so bloody, and like for that to come out at that time, I'm sure people in the theater were like, Jesus Christ, like what am I watching right now? Like, you were used to that kind of stuff with maybe some like B, C horror movie, grindhouse stuff, but you weren't expecting that in this big summer movie that everyone's going to see. And people talked about it so much that it became something people now want to see, and that's what started this.
And what was it rated?
I do not know the original. Was it PG? Was it PG-13?
PG. They did not have PG-13 at that time.
It was just PG.
It was PG. And like you said earlier,
Parental guidance.
I have no idea how, when, where I saw this first, but I was definitely way too young. Definitely way too young. And this is where, thanks to Allison, my wife, she refused to let the kids watch a lot of scary movies young. I will be in a pool. I know damn well there are no sharks in the fucking pool, but I'll still do a double check. Be like, all right, just double check and just making sure. I grew up going to the ocean. My grandma lived in Florida, so we'd go to the ocean, and I'd be in that deep and be like,
I cannot imagine seeing that for the first time and then wanting to go to the beach. Like that, there's no way. It was like I said, like, even on the rewatch of seeing how gory it was, it's like, oh my God, like, and yeah, just in terms of special effects and everything else and all the shots, it's such a good movie.
and
Like,
the mystery to what this monster is. So we don't know what it is, how big it is, whatever. When those two fools are on the dock trying to reel it in with the holiday roast, and then all of a sudden it takes the dock, you're like, oh shit, this is not a fish. This is like a monster. That's insane. Everything adds up to just scaring the shit out of you. And I just feel like newer generations, because my kids are like, that shark is a joke. It's like foam. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
listen, you're grounded. First off, you're grounded. Secondly, I just think too that there was something about choosing that. I mean, it's based off a book, but just choosing that to be the horror premise was something that was so common, especially if you lived in a coastal city. You had heard about shark attacks. It's always been something, but like to amp it to this level where it terrorizes this entire town. It just, like I said, I can't imagine living in a place and then being like, "You guys want to go to the beach today?" Like I would have been terrified at the time. Like absolutely terrified.
Amity, as you know, means friendship.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that whole movie, and it's amazing to me the arc of the story, and that we then end up on a boat with 3 characters that are so different,
like they have nothing in common,
and just the tension that's coming between them. And you see Quint basically buddy with Brody so that he can have a guy on his side, but then you see Quint being the asshole he really is, and Brody realizing, well, I think Hooper's more my speed, sort of thing. But then that scene where they're drinking, comparing wounds and scars, and he's like, well, what's that tattoo? What's that one? Oh, it's a tattoo. I got it removed. And Richard Dreyfuss is like, tell me it said mother. And it's like, haha, that's funny. And then he goes to tell the story of the USS Indianapolis, and you're like,
oh.
And as a kid, I had no idea what that meant, just that sharks were eating people. Now, as an adult, I watch it like, oh shit, that really happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
and which is
up.
also really cool, that was taking real world things and rolling it into these things these characters go through and deal with. It was so.
I might be off, so nerddom. My memory's not as great as it once was, but I believe
Although we're not 50,
I believe that was a punch up in the script from the dude who wrote the original Red Dawn. I forgot his name. He was friends with Spielberg and Lucas and all those guys, and I believe he punched up that part of the script because I know Spielberg was giving him and George Lucas tours of the set and seeing Jaws, and that's the famous where George was like, "This is gonna be one of the biggest movies ever made," and Spielberg was like, "Whatever, dude, you don't know what you're talking about." And once again, my man George knew what he was talking about.
Every once in a while, that man has come through.
Yeah. And I would like to say, because I did watch him, I think Jaws 2, clearly a money grab, is still worth watching. It's still got a lot of what the first one has as far as creepy and jump scares and stuff like that. Still brought back Brody, the kids who are different actors and all that. But I still really enjoy what they did with that, especially when you look at a lot of the sequels that came out in the 70s and 80s, and it was like rinse and repeat. Whereas this one, I feel like went in a different direction and basically put what you would see in like Friday the 13th with kids at camp, put them out in the ocean, and then you have the monster around them, which I thought was genius. And then Jaws 3D at SeaWorld? Are you kidding me?
But see, I think that also like really plays in, like it not only did so much for like the summer blockbuster and all the other stuff, but it really laid like the foundation for like sequels. Like, oh, this did so well, let's do it again. And kind of learning what works for those, what doesn't. I mean, like I said, you can go back to Wes Craven having the Jaws poster in Hills Have Eyes to now he does Scream, which is a breakdown of horror movies and its sequels and its spit. Like it just it like I said, it's a very important movie. It is such an important movie, and it's cool that it's being just honored the way it is now. I just saw Richard Dreyfuss appear at some celebration where they're doing a Q&A. If you watch it right now, streaming on Peacock, there's a little intro from Steven Spielberg talking about how he's just like, I don't know how I'm here talking about this movie because when we were filming it, I was like, this shit's gonna suck. Like,
Thought it was the end of his career. Delays,
yep.
money. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one of the things I just love about Jaws is that it for a long time became this joke. And if you don't believe me, go see Back to the Future 2 when they're announcing Jaws 10,000.
Was it like 9 or whatever? And
yeah, and it was like, yeah, there was a time where we thought this franchise would never end, and in a bad way, like, oh my God, they just keep making these movies. But I think I'm sorry, I said Warner Brothers earlier, Universal. I think somebody wise was finally like, just after 4. And if you do watch 4, enjoy Michael Caine. Enjoy Lance Guest from Halloween 2 and the Last Starfighter. Other than that, the opening sequence, I don't care who you are, and I don't care how bad you want to hate Jaws 4, that is still freaky. And I will say that's the first horror movie I saw in a theater, Jaws 4. And that opening sequence still fucks me up. And it's at Christmas in Amity, and the youngest son, has to go and get this log out of the bay or wherever, and he goes to get it out, and then Jaws fucks him up. And it's like, I know you guys start every movie this way, but you usually don't start every movie this way with a Brody getting fucked up, and now you did, and I don't know what to do. Plus, it's got Mario Van Peebles. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, so I did say before we started filming, I've never seen 3 or 4, and that's my bad, and I will correct that within the next couple months here.
Damn it, you're gonna be so disappointed. You're gonna be like, Jimmy talks about it like they're awesome. It's like,
no. Listen,
80 sequels, my man.
I'm the one who just reread Secret Wars that you and James were like, why would you do that? Like, I can watch stuff and understand why, I can get the fun out of it, I guess.
Well, let me give
Um,
you some tips. It took me till about 10 years ago to realize that, and I think this is the layout. SeaWorld in part 3 is in Orlando.
mhm.
Yet somehow it's on the ocean. It only recently occurred to me, like, Orlando's not on the ocean, it's inland. What the hell?
It's Florida. It's all
Well,
Florida.
and so now I'm watching them like, so they have them going from the lagoon to the ocean. I'm like, this is bullshit. This sucks. And then
That's because they knew no one had been to Florida, so they were like, no one's going to call us on this.
my favorite part is, and I actually looked this up. How or why in the hell did SeaWorld allow Jaws, a horror film, to be filmed in SeaWorld and not like SeaWorld's the hero, but like you guys let some fucked up shit happen at your park. Jesus.
Well, hey, spoiler alert, they've been letting fucked up shit happen at their parks for almost the entirety of their existence. So
Well,
this was
some of that
probably
was
just like,
due to ignorance, and I will put out a positive note because I do have some classmates that work there, and they do a lot of marine saving and conservation, and they do a lot of great things, and they've changed a lot of their previous stuff from when I'm growing up with like Shamu and stuff and killer whales. But still, at the end of the day, if you're looking in marketing and you look at like, how can we, maybe we should work with Disney and do this uplifting story about, I don't know, whatever, a dolphin that saves the world. No, 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 no. I got a
no,
better
let's do
idea.
Jaws 3.
They're making another
Let's,
Jaws. We can do it in 3D, and we can have this fucking shark destroy everything in the park.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I don't know. I feel like the attendance wasn't ever very high at those places anyway. So it was just like, whatever. It'll tell people will want to come here because they'll think we have a big scary shark to look at. And
And
instead, we just have an abused orca.
I should say I'm challenging the leadership of this company. Yet, and I know I joke all the time about Ohio. We had a SeaWorld in Ohio. Who the fuck puts a SeaWorld
That
in
sounds like the
Ohio
saddest place anyone could
when
go.
you're closed like 5 months because it's fucking frozen over? Who
That
does
feels
that?
like I feel like that'd be a punishment. Like you have to go to SeaWorld in Ohio
Well, it was awesome for us
in
because,
November.
well, it was awesome because every year on the news they'd be like, "Oh, and they're flying Shamu out because it's gonna fucking freeze and whatever," and it's like, I don't understand. So, Jaws 3D brought to you by the same people that had SeaWorld in Ohio.
I mean, these were decisions that were made. That seriously sounds like a punishment. That sounds like if you were, that sounds like you fucked up at work and we're transferring you to the Ohio branch of SeaWorld, where
Look,
you actually
boys.
can't have a dolphin in the water because
Well,
it's frozen.
ironically, have you watched The Boys?
Yeah.
What's the Aquaman dude? What's his name?
Oh, the deep.
The Deep. He was banished after what he did to Sandusky, Ohio, which is where Cedar Point is.
That's
Fucking
outstanding.
cracked me up when that happened. I'm like, there's
That
nothing up
is
there. It's a Great
outstanding.
Lake.
Oh, that's great.
But Jaws 3D, Lou Gossett Jr., Dennis Quaid, and Leah Thompson. How did these, like, what? Yeah, it's good. In a bad way.
Well,
It's good.
but anyways, yeah, I mean, this is a great movie. If you have never watched it, now's the time. Or if you haven't watched it in a while, it's streaming exclusively on Peacock right now, which gives you something to watch on Peacock. And
And watch it for real because there are so many times, like I saw it on YouTube TV and I'm like, oh, you know what? I know it's on Peacock. I'm gonna go watch Peacock. The edited stuff on TV, it's not as good as just the rawness of what you see in the real film with the blood and
yeah,
the killer kid and the, oh God, it's horrifying. I would love, if you are Generation X, I would love your opinion. If you're any generation younger, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on Jaws because you grew into Jaws versus growing up with Jaws. If you're a boomer, I don't care. I don't want to hear from you. So cool.
hey, love that. I second that one, just in general. But yeah, let us know in the comments below.